Welcome to the 103rd weekly episode of Marked Out Radio. We are the premier podcast focused on the hobby of collecting autographs and photo ops from celebrities. We talk about autograph conventions, on-the-street encounters, and everything else about the hobby. I'm Sean.
And I'm Dana.
And as we head directly into summer, we've begun making our kind of increasingly complex summer plans. You had a couple of things happen this week already. I've been poking fun that you've had this Josh Gates live on event on the books for a while now. How did that event go?
I was surprised by how crowded it was. These types of things, the Ancient Aliens, the Josh Gates live, like these various shows are, I suppose, very popular by the like demographic that would want to see this live and then would want to like wait and meet these people in person. I guess all of the, insane traits that make up this hobby, us included, also lends itself to these types of shows. And it really drew. It really drew. I think they had over 100 meet and greets sold.
That's wild. What was the cost on that?
The meet and greet upcharge. Let me double check my phone just so I'm completely accurate. The meet and greet upcharge was $129, and then the
Plus
ticket
what?
was whatever you wanted your ticket to be. I, of course, bought the cheapest one, which was $49 because I wasn't staying for the event. But you could have spent up to like $100 if you wanted a closer seat to the stage. So you're talking a minimum of like $200 with fees and perhaps more. And in some cases, you had families of 3 and 4. You had 18, 19-year-old kids with their parents. And you had and you start doing the math in your head. These people are dropping $1,000. Granted, they're not doing all the cons we do, or probably any of the cons we do. This is like the moment in their life where they do the stuff we do. For me, this was a mere blip on my radar. That's where, people like us are more insane. But anyway, unlike the Let's Rap About It podcast, this had, if anything, an over explanation of the guidelines. They made it seem like the president was coming. They sent an itinerary 2 days before, and then the day before they basically resent the same one, which I appreciate. And you remarked how it was like it was very, very like buttoned up tight, like they were not really leaving much wiggle room. Luckily, I did a little bit of research prior to going as to like people's reports and whatnot. And ChatGPT for this type of thing is great. A little pro tip, because it really it farms Reddits, it farms all these different places, which yes, I could have done myself, but why? Let the AI get smarter, let me get lazier. It sounds like a good plan to me. And it seemed that Josh Gates was signing. So I printed a couple 8x10s that I do not want in my collection, and I tried to bring them in as covertly as possible.
How did that work out for you?
Well, it worked out well. As I've mentioned on here before, there's a guy by the name of Larry who works at this place, and he also works at Looney Tunes, and he's kind of a control freak. And he was on the check-in side of things at this event rather than like at the table dealing with the talent directly. So I had my 8x10s hidden in there was a newspaper in the lobby. So I grabbed one of those just to sort of mask my Walgreens envelope. And when I got up to him for the check-in, he goes, "Do you have anything to get signed?" And I, of course, lied because why would I tell someone like this the truth? And I thought it was a weird question. So because
tip from a marked out pro, right?
Yeah. So I'm like, out of curiosity, why? And he's like, "Oh," I'm like, because then I at this point I want to be like a little like nimble on my feet in case I like lied myself out of something I would need, like some sort of a ticket or something. So I'm like, if I buy something at the merch stand to get signed, do you have a ticket or something that I would need to get the autograph? And he goes, and this is where he's himself. He goes, "No, they aren't advertising that he's autographing stuff, but he will. I would just need to talk to him about it beforehand. So I need to know if you have anything."
Larry has to give his very important blessing.
Yes. And just for people that are keeping track at home, this was the same guy that basically forced Daryl McDaniels to personalize, because that's his rule everywhere. And Daryl had never seen forced personalizations anywhere. So he just made the guy work double time because he wanted to seem important. But whatever. So I went inside. Once I got inside on the line for the actual meet and greet, all the people on that end were like, just, if you want something personalized, here's a Post-it note. If you don't, that's fine. So I ditched the newspaper on one of the empty seats. And, the line took a little bit of time because, he gives people time, which is, I guess, a good thing. To someone like me, it was a little bit annoying. I would have liked to have been out of there even quicker. I was probably on the line for like 45 minutes. And he was great. I put the 8x10s down when I got in there, and I had them like sort of backed, I had them stacked tight, figuring if the staff was going to give me any grief about it being 2, I'd rather be, and he like instantly like just went to separate them to see how many there were. And he signed them in a good spot, and the photo went good. I think they uploaded it probably like 18 hours after the fact. I'm still not sure why place.
That's a little long.
A little bit, but they advertised up to 48, so it wasn't bad. I don't even get why.
I know your stress level. I know your stress level increases the longer it goes.
Honestly, I'm getting better. I think I only refreshed the what the hell is it called? I forgot the website's name, but whatever it was. I only refreshed it like 3 times, which for a normal person is obsessive. For me,
normally it's 10,000 times.
Oh yeah, I forget. There was some in my past where I would legit refresh it every 5 minutes. So I'm getting better. And I now have both of my 8x10s on eBay because honestly, they've been selling for like $150 each. And I have some hopes that maybe I could pay back my my meet and greet.
Yeah, it'd be great. You sent me pictures that he was selling signed 8x10s at his merch table. How much was he charging for them?
He was selling those for $20. But apparently the which I wasn't actually going to put this out there, Sean. Thanks a lot. I was going to try to create the illusion of a steal, of a deal at $150. But if you're not going to his live show, you're not getting it. I imagine the eBay audience that's buying these is not really frequenting the shows.
Yeah, there's a significant barrier to entry for these. The entry fee,
and for a split second, I'm like, I should buy like 10 of these and throw them up at like $99.99 on eBay and just make a quick hit. But I don't have that much faith in the Josh Gates autograph market because the value they're selling for, it's like damn near, it's like De Niro pricing on an 8x10. Like it's a lot, and I don't entirely know why.
I think it's one of those things where there's just not that many out there, right? So as soon as the market even comes a little bit saturated,
it's done. Yeah. So I'm like, let me just try to get these 2 freebies sold and get as much of my money back as I can. And let me not turn this into an investment because I've made bad ones like that before. And I don't want to do it again.
So it's all in all, you did what you came in, you did what you needed to do. And hopefully you'll be able to recoup some of those costs. So you only got a couple bucks for the photo op.
Hopefully. And speaking of that, I had a great sale on my Ancient Aliens poster from another one of the meet and greets at Patchogue that you judged and mocked me for. And I sold it. I had it up for $500 since one of the guys died. Luckily, he died. Because, before he died, I don't think I would have had much luck. And someone shot me an offer of like $290. And I probably dented my screen. I slapped accept so fast. And after fees and shipping, I think I'm around $240 on the thing, take home. And I believe, much like Josh Gates Live, this was around $190 or so all in. So I guess I'm slightly green on that meet and greet that I probably didn't even need to do. But if you're gonna do an unnecessary meet and greet, it might as well be free.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny how, you know what it is? It's because these are kind of off the beaten path meet and greets. The people who are the fans are going to be like the real super duper fans, and then the rest of us, like, who the hell are these people? So it works to your advantage.
Hopefully, fingers crossed for the Gates stuff selling.
So on the board this week, there were a couple of big stories. I feel like doing these out of order. Do you agree?
Yeah.
And so the first one, I'll go in reverse order. So the first one, because these two are related to each other. So I guess it's the New Jersey Horror Con, which is really not a particularly well-attended con. They offered kind of a weird thing. I can't tell if it was a joke or if it was serious, or I'm not really entirely sure what's what. But they were offering the opportunity for fans to purchase their own guest table and then sit there and be treated as if you were a celebrity, but you're not. And then I don't really quite understand. Am I getting it right, or is there a piece of it that I'm missing?
I think there's definitely a piece missing from the NJ Horror Con people's psyches to really like put this out there. On one hand, I'm super envious that we didn't monetize this. Like, we could have sold a spot like at WrestleCon when people were dropping like flies. We could have offered it up to fans. You want to be rubbing elbows with Jack Cartwheel? I mean, buy a spot at our table. I wish I thought of it. But at the same time,
for this,
I am saying, but that's the thing. If this sells, which, spoiler alert, they deleted their post. So I think that tells you all you need to know about the reaction that they were aware of. Like, if it sells, I mean, I would sell seats at like my Thanksgiving table. Like, if I was going to actually make money that I felt was worth it, I don't care. But like you said, no one's doing it. So if you're doing something like this in a serious way and it doesn't sell and you're being mocked and ridiculed, it's a bad look. If they, had they sold it, I think we would have seen more people being like, okay, this is kind of ridiculous, but let's throw it up there on the market.
I just don't see a world in which anyone actually pays for this. It's just the internal logic of it doesn't make much sense. Like, most of these shows, you can buy a vendor table for $500, and then you put a sign up, and there you go, you're a guest. You know what I mean? So that there's just not a hell of a lot of difference. And this was over $1,000 to do this. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, the opportunity to buy a vendor table is available at every show to everyone. This is really, it's just a weird, expensive vendor table, unless I'm missing something.
Well, the element is to be treated like a celebrity, and I don't really know what that means. Like, if you were going to if you got yourself a vendor table at Chiller Theater, you really could have you could give yourself the Olivia Hussey treatment. Like, I'm not saying that you guys neglected or treated her badly, even though you kind of duped her onto that fake first class seat. But it wasn't like, she was curried around in a limousine. Like, it was kind of just, she roamed around through the hallways like Jeremiah. It was the same difference. And she sat at a table, and had fans doting on her. And like, buying this $1,000 ticket doesn't get the fans doting on you. They're going to walk by and be like, who the hell is that? Or they're going to laugh at you because you paid $1,000 to do that. So that's the key element of being treated like a celebrity that you can't create. You just can't, unless they were going to give you like actors that were coming up to you as fans, like create this whole VR level like reality that you're just living this life, and there's these actors that are going to come up and act like you're the fan, that they're fans of yours, but they're not going that deep. So like you said, it's an overpriced vendor table that you probably aren't even coming with anything to sell. So you're just going to pay for a double price vendor table and sit there like an idiot.
Yeah, I just don't quite follow what I think it was somebody's goofball idea. They were kind of half kidding about it, and it got a lot of negative publicity, which then, made them pull it. That's sort of my guess as to what happened.
Yeah, and I enjoy all sorts of carny things, whether it's accurate and genuine or just sort of a joke, and, negative publicity, sure. But I bet a number of people clicked on the website, perused the next date. If there's guests announced, which that shows how closely I follow them, they looked at the guests. I don't think there's any such thing as negative publicity on this level. It's harmless. So it's probably, what the hell? We're talking about them right now. Groups were talking about them. Not the worst thing, but definitely an idea that didn't go anywhere.
So speaking of other kind of carny, strange ideas, which con is this one? The Bill Duke one?
That I do not know. Let me try to check. It wasn't one that I frequent, so it kind of just went in one ear out the other.
So you look at that. I'll explain the scenario. So Bill Duke, who's I think best, we're talking a C-level character actor.
The Horror Fest. Whatever the hell that
one?
Is. Horror Fest, Arizona.
Oh, I don't even know. That's probably why it didn't register with me.
Yeah.
So they're offering a special like VIP 10-minute meet and greet with him for like $200 or so. So the idea would be you can get your normal combo, whatever, or you can get a 10-minute meet and greet. Now the 10-minute meet and greet is still only getting one autograph and one photo op, but then you get to converse with him for 10 full minutes, 600 agonizing seconds if you're counting along at home. What are your thoughts of this one?
Well, I think 10 minutes is a mere drop in the bucket if you are a skilled conversationalist, that you could talk to Bill Duke for at least 4 to 5 hours. Lots of great topics, like, do you watch Duke college basketball? Are you how much do you hate David Duke? And all other Duke related topics. But I mean, in all seriousness, I barely want 10 seconds with these people. 10 minutes would be terrible. I hate how I have to try to, and usually I do a bad job and I don't try, and I just sort of like in silence record them signing. But for the TikTok, I should be trying to engage in conversation. I don't even want to. And that's for like a minute. And like I could, but it's like, what do you say? It all just seems awkward. You're asking questions that are either so stupid no one cares, or so canned and common they've been asked 5 times already that weekend. Like it just, I don't know. I can't suspend belief long enough to think asking Bret Hart what his all-time favorite match is a good idea. I just can't.
Yeah, because you could see like the light go out of his eyes when you ask something like that.
Yeah.
I just, the idea that look, we've already talked about the false intimacy of paying someone to take a picture with them, right? That's you're basically creating this weird fake intimacy. I mean, we've already there's already, I think, problems with that, and certainly, or at least questions about that. This is a whole other level where you're paying someone to basically be nice to you and give you more of their time when it's not organic to do so. And that's like, I don't know. I find that really extremely odd and off-putting and a bit hard to swallow.
A little bit, but I will say, let's imagine for a moment that this would become the norm, the way the photo op became the norm, which was also kind of weird at the time, as a free giveaway that's all of a sudden now being monetized. Wouldn't you have felt better about that sort of round woman that was talking to Ricky Smokes? Had you been able to collect $10 for that interaction, minus the stolen selfie, that would have been fine. He wasn't working at that point in time. There was no line. She wants to yammer to him for 10 minutes. Here's, give me $10. I like that.
I suspect. I know you're right on you're right on a conceptual level, but in practice, the kinds of people who go to Yap don't really understand that's something they're gonna have to pay for.
I agree, but if all of a sudden though, you could point to a sign and be like, no, conversation, $10, keep it moving. The same way if someone tried for a selfie, in theory, you'd be like, no, you got to pay for that. 20 years ago, you would have had the same thought, like, oh, I don't know if people are gonna really, the people that want photos aren't going to pay for them. And, lo and behold, now they do. Maybe, I think, honestly, when you look at Tammy Sitch with the bed photos, I think all of this stuff, that was ahead of its time. And
but I think the bed, all right, so I'm going to be contrarian. Because I think the bed photo, if you did the bed photo sincerely, you're insane. But I think there is a world in which the bed photo is done tongue-in-cheek as a joke, where it's funny. Do you know what I'm saying? I think there's a fine line with some of these things.
I think we have to be. I know what you're saying, but I agree you're insane. But we know that the average person is getting these photo ops as a masturbation aid. Let's just be real. And that's what that was. That was oh, I'm in bed with Sonny. This is so hot. And I bet you there's guys that are still looking at that picture fantasizing that did that.
Yeah, if Todd the Bod were alive, he'd still be looking at it.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, that might be what took Todd out. A very vigorous session to that photo.
Oh, man. I didn't expect you.
Sorry, Todd. If Marked Out Radio is blasting in heaven, I apologize. Although, honestly, he was such a pervert. He would love that anyway. He'd be laughing.
I agree. What's so funny, though, Todd on the internet had a sense of humor. I gotta be honest. Todd in person did not. He was an odd guy. He was nice enough, but he didn't really get the kind of normal joshing that people do to each other. At least when I met him.
Yeah. So while I hope you wouldn't be masturbating to 10 minutes of conversation with Bill Duke, I think this might be, in theory, it could blaze the same trail if everyone sort of started charging for the excessively long interaction. Will they? Probably not. Would people pay for it? I don't know. Probably not. But just to be devil's advocate, I could see how this could become a new item on a menu, and I think it could actually make things better if it was accepted.
No, people do the dinner with Gene Simmons and all that nonsense. This is just a kind of a scaled down version of it, right?
Yeah, and I think the dinner with Gene Simmons, you could sort of be like, oh, well, I'm paying for the food. You're definitely paying $400 for like, $9 chicken fingers. But I mean, there's at least something you could put into it that it seems a little less pathetic. Like this is straight up like you're paying for 10 minutes of his time, which I mean, there's no bells and whistles to sort of hide behind.
So in other news, Fan Expo Dallas announced a full Young Guns reunion. Charlie Sheen, Emilio Estevez, Kiefer Sutherland, Casey Simasco, which is huge. I mean, we're definitely. So, like, bottom line is this: it's so funny. I convinced you to agree to fly to Chicago for Mr. T, and all of a sudden, 2 weeks later, we haven't even gotten on an airplane to Chicago yet, and now you're convincing me to fly to Dallas. So
you created a monster,
right? So not only is Marked Out going on the road for Fan Expo, we're doing Marked Out Radio from Chicago with a Sharpie social. We're also going to do Marked Out Radio from Dallas, Texas, and we're going to be having a Sharpie social out there as well. So this is Marked Out, expanding our reach. I imagine, honestly, 2026 we hit Chicago and Dallas. That means 2027 is going to be the West Coast at some point, right?
Yeah. Can we Uber to the grassy knoll?
I have to look it up because that's something that I would like to go to.
Yeah.
But I it's my understanding that I don't know. I think Dallas is supposed to be pretty walkable, at least compared to Chicago. But I'm talking on my ass. We should look it up though for sure. Either way, yeah. What is what is drawing you? Because you were like, oh my god, we got to go. What is drawing you to Dallas here?
I mean, besides my mental illness, I'm interested in the Young Guns reunion, despite having never seen Young Guns. I do have to watch it, and I will watch it. I will do better with that than I did with the 100. I'm gonna watch it, and I think I'm gonna kind of hope I hate it because that group op is pretty pricey. It's like $7 and change. So I'm hoping I don't want it, but I might. Who knows? I need Emilio. For better, I was never the biggest hockey fan, but in my age group, the Mighty Ducks was massive. It was. And he's one of those types of big names that I've never gotten. And he's done a couple things. I never traveled for them. I want him. I need Charlie, like I'm doing a Michael Douglas autograph in Rhode Island, and I would prefer to do a laser disc than an 11x17. But I didn't want to start something and then need Charlie on it after Michael Douglas. So now I could start the laser disc in Dallas and get Michael Douglas on it and then just wait for Daryl Hannah to happen somewhere. And I could have a complete piece on my own terms. And I mean, I'm not going to have enough time to do all of this. I've been wrestling with a dissatisfaction of my Lost Boys piece. Because I did an 8x10. An 8x10 of the poster. I know. And the Lost Boys is truly and genuinely, as much as you judge me for this, one of my all-time favorite movies. I love it. It is like mac and cheese and mashed potatoes of just like feel good. Like I love that movie. And I feel like I should have something better while these people are alive. So part of me would like to get a laser disc or something done of the Lost Boys with Kiefer.
But the problem with the Lost Boys is Corey Haim.
Well, that's the problem with anything. I mean, I don't care. He's dead.
And the other guy, the other guy too died, right? What the hell is his name? The other vampire.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, I'm not looking to like make something. It bothers me that my piece is what my piece is. But then if I do a better piece, I have to eventually pony up for Feldman, who is also in Dallas. But I mean, we're only doing one day of this show. I'm not going to have time to hit all these lines. I'm not. And VIP is sold out. I actually checked the other night. I'm like, should we split a VIP? But we can't. So VIP is gone. I know your main thing is you're going to be traveling with the full size, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. If I have that really expensive Wall Street poster. It's funny. I'm gonna end up getting Charlie on it before Michael, but that's how it goes,
Here's what's going to happen. We're going to go to Dallas. You're going to get Charlie on it. Michael is going to die, and you are going to have this expensive poster signed by Charlie only, who will then not die. Because if he died soon thereafter, you could probably still parlay it but he will live until he's 95, and you will have this primo poster signed by the secondary star, and that will drive you crazy.
Yeah, it'll be pretty upsetting. So hopefully we Michael Douglas hangs on through November. November's far away.
Yeah. You wouldn't be doing an Emilio Graff, right?
I wouldn't even know what to get him to sign.
Laserdisc with the Mighty Ducks, of course.
I'm a little bit too old for the Mighty Ducks.
Or the Breakfast Club. That's the other thing I'm thinking. Should I be doing something?
No, I'm not going to get all. I actually have. The problem is I do have a Breakfast Club print, but it's not the movie poster. It's just an Anthony Michael Hall thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
So,
I don't know what to do. But
so
I'm
here's
definitely going to get Emilio Graff.
I don't like the Mighty Ducks. So it's just the Bad News Bears, but worse. So whatever.
When you say the Bad News Bears, you always keep mentioning the Bad News Bears. I assume you mean the Mathau one, right?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. For whatever reason, I'm a bigger fan of the Billy Bob Thornton one. I've seen them both. I enjoy Billy Bob's better. I don't know why.
It's just a matter of how old you are when you see it. You know,
I think I was too old for Billy Bob's. Honestly, I think I was like at least 16 or 17 when that came out.
Yeah, it's too old. I mean, I was a young kid when I saw the first Bad News Bears, and Bad News Bears. Something maybe if people a little bit younger don't realize that expression "Bad News Bears" that entered the public lexicon, so people would use that in everyday contexts to mean like just ne'er-do-wells who cannot possibly succeed at something. You call them the Bad News Bears. So if I was in school and there was a group of kids who was just complete failures, they could call them Bad News Bears, So I'm affectionate towards that. So, I mean, granted, they've remade that concept a million times over. It's not the underdog, ne'er-do-well is not a particularly complicated concept. But so when I saw the Mighty Ducks, I was already, my teens, and like, this is just the Bad News Bears, and I never really given it any thought. So and so like Emilio really hasn't done anything that I am super into. I guess let's put it like that. So I'm not. That's a very long-winded way of saying I'm not going to get the Graff. I'll get the op. My interest is in Casey Siemaszko because he is Curly in Of Mice and Men, and
that's
he has
wild.
never done. What? Why is that wild?
How many Of Mice and Men projects do you see out there?
Almost none. Well, what really sucks is there's a Gary Sinise poster that's signed. Someone wants a lot of money for it. This is for 11 by 17. John Malkovich would be the one I would want to get, but it's almost impossible to get him on anything. Apparently, he just stopped signing. So, and I've been actively. You've seen my posts. I've been actively putting out feelers to try and find a John Malkovich signed Of Mice and Men piece. What sucks is there are people who have 8x10 stills of him from that movie signed, but no one has like a poster or a project done. Because if I can get Malkovich, right, he's like the one who's difficult. Sinise is easy. Sherilyn Fenn is still doing cons. She's easy. Siemaszko is impossible, but now he's doing a con, so I'll get him on there. And then it only leaves like Joe Morton, and then basically that's the main cast. They're all done. Everyone else is dead.
And listen, given your occupation, I get you being a little more passionate about Of Mice and Men.
I've seen that movie 1,000 times. 1,000 times.
It's almost like a Romeo and Juliet thing for you, so I get it.
Correct. Yes. So Casey Siemaszko, that's kind of his. He was young. He was in his early 20s in that movie.
Wow. And so he's a bigger one for you than Emilio. That's wild.
Yes. 100%. Because remember when SWAU announced him as like a private, and I didn't put two and two together, thinking it was clearly attached to this, but they just didn't announce this. I think maybe they waited to get Emilio before they announced this publicly. I don't know. So either way, he's a very cool name, and he's been in a lot. He's actually, if you look at his credits, he's been in a bunch of stuff. But for me, that's neat, and I like this. To me, I'm getting the sense he may be a one and done type of deal.
Wouldn't shock.
So I don't know. I mean, I could buy I'm tinkering with the idea of an Of Mice and Men full size, and I'm going to be honest. If I can't find something, because look, on eBay there's someone who has an 11 by 17 reprint of Of Mice and Men with Gary Sinise, and they want $250 for it. I'm going to be honest, that's very high for Gary Sinise. It's my understanding that Gary Sinise is easy if you see him. That's still true, right?
Yeah,
it's virtually a sure thing.
If you're starting this thing, I mean, let's know your limitations. Are you really going to be running around the city chasing after Gary Sinise to get him as easy as he is or isn't?
No, but at the same time, I feel like that $250 it's high. But then again, would I pay $250 at a con for Gary Sinise? Probably. But then it's signed Best Wishes Gary Sinise in silver Sharpie, which is not how I would do it. So it's complex. This is a complex issue. And if I had, if I knew Sherilyn Fenn was doing a con sometime in the near future, she was doing them for a while. She did Chiller, for Christ's sake, and I never really thought about it. I would be more inclined here. I don't know. I don't know what I should do. Sound off in the comments. What should I do? I want Casey Simasco on a Of Mice and Men, but I'm not really sure what project to start. And it sucks. It sucks that John Malkovich is difficult now. But
he's always been kind of difficult. But I mean, he's definitely more difficult.
There are people. I mean, I've read reports had him one-on-one, and he got mad at them and yelled at them and stuff. He doesn't like signing collections. So he'll sign for dealers, but not collectors. It's a whole weird thing. I don't know. Not gonna pretend to understand this insanity. Anyway, what else? That was Dallas. So we'll see you guys in Dallas. And then what else is there? So SWAU did a private signing with Tom Holland, and there were some complaints about the returns that you brought it to my attention.
Yeah, Tom Holland did a private signing for SWAU, and this is the type of thing that scares me from our completely voluntary chosen place in the retail sphere of this hobby. But a return came back from Tom Holland, and people were pissed because, quote unquote, the marker looked dead. And the marker wasn't dead. With certain paint pens, if someone's a very quick signer, not every pen is going to always be completely like that. There's certain streaks that you just have in the signature because it's quick, and that's the way it goes. And maybe like they should have used a different pen, whatever. But as we'll get to in a little bit, sometimes people request a certain pen, and if you go make a different decision that you think is better, you're violating what the customer's asking for. We have followed certain things down to the letter, and we could have made it look better, but we went with what the person wanted. And the Tom Holland thing was just kind of crazy because the people were telling the customer to do a chargeback, and this isn't right. And as SWAU, I don't really know how they could have handled that better. It was well placed. It wasn't smudged. It wasn't anything. It was just a guy signing quickly and the limitations of the paint pen.
Yes. We talk a lot about paint pens and how we would choose paint pens most of the time over Sharpies. There are always limitations of paint pens. They do have significant limitations. A lot of those are as a result of the paper, but also the speed of the signer and the pressure that the signer employs when they sign. That all matters. And so you can have really bad experiences with paint pens through no fault of anyone.
Yeah. That's why on some level it's a lot less stressful to just sell stuff after the fact because it is what it is. You see what you're looking at and you buy it or you don't. But the profit margins are in a lot of cases significantly dampened to do it that way. So like for a lot of opportunities, you got to sort of do the pre-order and the mail-in. But this is, and I'm not saying this for anyone to feel sorry for anyone of us that do this. This is what we choose. And, someone that chooses to sort of clean high-rise windows, they gotta be hundreds of feet in the air. That's what you choose. That's life. But it's just be mindful sometimes that it's not always the company's fault. It's just science and limitations, and that just the way it is sometimes.
I was wondering where you're going with that analogy.
I wasn't sure either, but I landed
you stuck the landing, I think, on that, actually. I was anxious for an eighth of a second. Where are we going? And then the landing stuck. I was all right. I agree. High-rise windows. I got it.
I mean, after the Todd the Bod masturbation line, I can't take any more big swings this episode.
I agree. That one was not quite. That was a little bit of a thud of a landing. I laughed because of that. I think it's just absurd. But I also think
follow-up joke I could make, but I'm not going to make it.
I think Todd, truthfully, was open about his perversions enough. Yeah, we're not going to pretend that he wasn't a vile perv in life now that he's been dead for a couple of years. I mean, that was Todd's charm,
Yeah, we say that. Well, we say that lovingly. He was the first pervert of Marked Out, I think, and that's actually that's quite the honor.
Yeah, given the cast of characters we employ. Right?
But anyway, But before we get to the main event of this topic, I just want to throw something out there. I'm not going to name names because I've had enough. We've had enough war in the last year or so on this show, so I have no reason to do that. But we mentioned SWAU. We're going to mention a little bit the Little Rat feuding with Mintich, and I just want to point out that for some of these companies out there, and I'm not naming names, but there's companies out there that will simultaneously sort of line up and carry out and advertise big name signings, much bigger names than we've dealt with. And they will at the same time take months and months to ship stuff back. And then they will whine and complain how they're small and they're doing the best they can. And to me, I have zero patience for that. You're small or you're big. If you're small and this is all you can do, stick to Ari Lehman, stick to the people like that, stick to, smaller stuff. Don't go booking A and B level stuff and then expect the buyer to wait months and months and months because, oh shucks, I'm all by myself. What more can I do? That's a lousy cop out. I bought something from the Shawn Michaels signing from High Spots that we'll talk about next week, hopefully. And this signing took place 2 or 3 days ago. I already have a tracking email in my inbox. And that's how it should be. If you can't handle big stuff like that, you shouldn't handle it at all.
What's funny is a lot of the ones who are claiming to be small mom and pop acts, they're involved in these signings where there's an outlay of, 5 to 6 figures of cash. And it's I'm sorry, no small operation has $50,000 to $100,000 cash lying around to spend. Yep. You're not that small. You're not that small if you're spending that amount in one signing. That's just a fact.
There's a reason why the mom and pop operations that you would see in small town USA don't try to run a Walmart and be like, well, there's only 2 of us, so you got to wait 4 hours for someone to help you buy the tires. No, you run a small store if you're small, run a big store if you're big. Can't be both.
Agree. And so let's talk about the Little Rat going to war with Mintich, I guess is how you say it. I don't know. Mike, who runs Mintich, is a member of the marked out autograph collecting community, and so he did respond.
That was news to me. I didn't realize that.
He's been a member for a year, maybe more.
I'll be completely honest. I didn't know who the hell he was. I didn't know what the Mintich guy's name was. I've never interacted with them.
Oh, so I think I saw him on Rack. So
I would not have realized that he was him. I'm glad he was there. But before we talk about his response, let's talk about the issue. The Little Rat was starting an 8x10 cast piece of Freaks and Geeks, which
wonderful show.
I don't know why he started an 8x10, but I mean, I guess it's the Vinny Others Innocente influence, where I mean that seems like a good idea, but whatever. He started an 8x10 project of that show, which is a very good show. And he requested it be signed in blue Sharpie, which I'm not sure how that would have looked, but his request with a character name. The photo returned from Mintich in quick time because Mintich is not a group of buffoons, and they actually send stuff back quickly, which is good. And it came back in blue deco, which I think looked better than the blue Sharpie would have, but that wasn't what he requested, and that his request should have been honored if at all possible. And to me, what was most egregious is it came back without the character name. And we've had things like that happen on our watch, and it happened. I'm not dragging anyone through town square here. But for the Little Rat's purposes, he requested 2 different things and the location. He requested location so he could fit the other signatures. And that wasn't honored. So for someone starting a project piece, it missed every mark. What do you do now? Are you going to do it in blue deco? You got to say no character name to match this one. What do you do? You're more anal than me. How would you feel if all these were your requests and this is what it came back looking like?
See, here's the problem, Zach. I completely appreciate why his interests were very particular, and I am also very particular and everything. Here's the problem. Zach's 8x10 that he printed and had sent over there, I guarantee 100 of the people did the exact same 8x10. And so what happened was, and Mike alluded to this, is that it got thrown in the pile of generic deco 8x10s, and then James Franco was just burning through that pile, signing them all the exact same way. And when you are trying to do a unique piece or you have unique instructions, I'm not saying it should be this way. I'm saying it is this way, that it's better to have a unique piece, So I'll give you an example. When I asked when I asked for my Stone Cold Steve Austin on my WrestleMania 14 jacket, I specifically asked that it be signed very big. Now, that would probably not be honored on an 8x10 or an 11x14 that he signed 100 of the same one. On a jacket where I'm pretty confident that was the only one in that signing, it's going to naturally stand out. And the person running the signing is going to say, okay, wait a second, here you go. And take that extra eighth of a second to make sure it's done right. I'm not saying, I totally understand where that's coming from. It's very frustrating when you pay a premium price and you get treated like cattle, which is literally, that's what their explanation is, right? We were going too fast. It got stuck in the wrong pile. They're not even pretending it's not that. I understand. And, we've done, look, I'm not, with some of the signings we did where we were being rushed by the talent or by the promoter, there are lots of things that go on. And you're like, shoot, what do I do here? And so I totally understand that. This was an unfortunate situation. I would have avoided this by simply not getting a generic 8x10 done. As obnoxious as that answer is, and I appreciate that it's obnoxious, I just would never be put in that situation. So if I had my own unique cast piece and that was done incorrectly, that's a different story. And then I'm not sure what I would do.
Devil's advocate, I don't know if we can really say that there were a large amount of that 8x10, because I'm
I don't know.
You think 8x10? You don't think more? Maybe,
certain.
Possibly. I'm not even sure how well traveled the signing was. Franco is kind of a leper right now. But I agree with you that it's an obnoxious answer. It is. I know why you're throwing it out there. I'm not necessarily convinced. I don't know. I really don't. If something more unique would have sort of gotten the requests more close to the target, I don't know. It's possible. It can't hurt to have something more unique. But and I know you said this. You weren't like defending the mix-up, but you shouldn't like have to send them some unicorn to have your requests met.
Naturally, of course. You're right. I'm saying, look, there's an idealistic way of looking at the world, and then there's a strategic way of looking at the world. And I don't believe that you should be purely strategic in life. I think there's something really depressing about that some idealism is kind of essential to maintaining a happy life. But I think you have to you always have to think about the practical nature of it, maybe I try to have pretty unique items so that they're handled separately and specially. Maybe I'm in denial about that. I don't know. But yeah. So anyway, he got it done in blue. And truthfully, if I wanted it in blue Sharpie and I got it in blue deco, I would just do them all in blue deco. To me, that wouldn't matter to me. But I know that matters to Zach a lot. The absence of the character name, it's happened to me before where I paid for a character name, they didn't get it, and so then I get it refunded. It's annoying, but I would get them. I guess so I'm going to be really strange for a second. I would be less concerned on a TV piece than a movie piece with character names. Does that make sense to you?
Not really. Why?
It doesn't make sense to me either. I don't know, but I would feel like I wouldn't be that bothered with the like. Do I really need John Francis Daly to sign it and then write Sam underneath it? Or what's her name? Linda Cardellini to sign it Lindsay? Like, I know it's dumb and it goes against what I normally advocate. I probably wouldn't. I would probably still forge ahead given that I had a plan for doing this. Granted, what Zach can probably do is buy this image on the secondary market with Franco on it. Like, I don't think this is that rare. Especially after all these privates. Maybe I'm not. I agree,
but he won't find one in blue Sharpie with character name because, frankly, blue deco's the right call.
Right. You never know. I don't know. Maybe.
And my counterpoint would be, which again, it doesn't help. Zach is entitled to feel what he feels as a collector who made the order that he made. But like, for example, my pit print, I easily could have gotten Patrick and Sepita to give character names easily. But I also recognize the reality that I will not always have that ability. I'm not going to be able to get Noah Wiley at a rail and get him to write the character name. Maybe I could, but I mean, I didn't want to put myself that I already need a pen switch. Then I would need a character name. You're setting the bar too high. So I purposely started it with the low bar. Like, I don't know where Zach would ever get Seth Rogen with a character name, unless he's going to do a private one day, unless that's what he's banking on. So, I mean, I would be fine with it, but I'm not Zach. And you're more fine with it than I actually thought you would have been, because you're a lot closer to Zach in many ways than I am. But
yes, definitely. Zach and I are much more kindred spirits. I mean, I don't know if he likes to hear that or not, but that's just generally true. We kind of are similar. Yeah,
but ultimately, the only opinion that matters is Zach, because he's the one that bought it. He's the one that's keeping it. He's the one that would be starting a project. If he's not happy with it, whether rational or irrational, that's all that matters.
Right. Yeah. There's another thing I was to say about it. He didn't like the way he didn't like the he didn't like their answer. But the reality is, I'm actually surprised at the honesty of their answer. That is how private signings are run. If you want to see how private signings are run, read Mike's answer to Zach. That's how they're run. Would you say that's pretty fair? That's how I would say almost everyone that we've been a part of has been run.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, in a world where we see a lot of promoters and vendors do really this bad PR, I would argue that his response would make me more likely to say, I'll send or order something with my less stringent expectations. Like, that was accountability. It was a fair response. He didn't nickname Zach some other a small rodent. He handled it with grace, and I think
we messed up. I'm sorry.
Credit.
Right?
Yeah, that's all it takes. Sometimes I messed up. I'm sorry. And is Zach satisfied as a result of? Is everything fixed? No, it can't be fixed. But at least he took responsibility, and I think they deserve credit for that.
Well, the larger point for these signings is there are certain things that cannot be fixed. They cannot be fixed. You can't conjure up another print out of the air. You can't conjure, James Franco to appear again. That's not how it works. So,
well, I mean, listen, Zach, if you want to get your print redone, create an Instagram account as like a fake 15-year-old girl and DM Franco. You might get him to show up at your house, and then you can get it fixed.
I mean, that was for entertainment purposes only.
Sure.
I don't think he showed up at anyone's house.
I'm making it more salacious, but still,
yeah.
Zach might have a shot.
All right, and that's it for board engagement this week. So we have a couple reports, not too many, kind of a light week.
People are enjoying their June, I guess,
as they should. Ken had Tito Santana out at the Sportatorium. And so Vito was out there, C-Rat was out there. So, I mean, I thought it was pretty cool that Sean and Finn, they got they were the first ones to get that new Legends figure signed by Tito. It looks great. And he inscribed that was the first one. Of course, I'm so ignorant about these things. I'm like, isn't that figure old? I had no idea. But you corrected me that it's not even available to mass market yet.
No, it is. I believe only Mattel Creations and Target still. People are still waiting for the Target pre-order on that. And this is probably the first time Tito has been at Ken's that I haven't been there. I think I'm finally all good on Tito.
Until
the big rubber guy comes out, of course.
He has one up in the pipeline.
I think he does. I think he does. I'm not even sure. Someone messaged me about it. Hopefully that wasn't private information, but I think it's coming.
Speaking of the big rubber guys, I want to know what happened to the Jushin Liger big rubber guy. It was the prototype was shown at Squared Circle. They announced that it was coming soon for pre-order, and it's just not on the pre. And they've already announced their pre-orders for the rest of the calendar year, and it's not there.
Well, listen, if Cardona ever opens your DM, you can ask him.
That's true. He still has not. He still hasn't. I mean, if he ever listened to the show, he never would. So anyway. Michael was out and about he was I guess some kind of Hallmark movie or some kind of Christmas movie was filming near his house, and he went out and saw Mario Lopez. Mario Lopez, he did the op, but everyone reports the same thing. Mario Lopez is just not a fan-friendly guy. I mean, he'll do it, but he's not particularly nice, and that's true at cons and on the street.
At least he's consistent.
Did you ever get him or no?
No.
He was at that 90s con we didn't go to.
Yeah. We
My
honestly,
brother
it's
said
funny.
he was not nice.
I did the first 90s con. And I remember looking around at that show and being like, this is so cool. Like this is going to be like a yearly thing. We're going to, like, I don't know. The feeling probably wasn't mutual with you, but like that was my feeling. I thought it was just really cool.
No, we missed the one because it was running the same time as a different show.
Yeah, but I'm saying there's been a lot of whatever, like lineups or just bad scheduling or timing or whatever. And we haven't been back since. And like I never would have guessed after that first show that we would like years later we haven't gone back.
Yeah, I mean, I would have gone to all of them, I think, but there was always something happening during those times. So
they run opposite other things, which I mean, I get. Again, not everyone has the net and the reach that we have. At this point, we're going Providence to Dallas. That's our current net, which is nuts, and they can't accommodate that type of lunatic. But still, we've had bad luck.
I do find it funny, though, in answering that question from Martine, you were like, there's no way I would travel internationally for combos. And now you're like relatively close to the Mexican border in September. I'm just pointing that out. That we're like very close to going international for our combos.
Well, so here, I'm telling you, I told my wife I was going to Chicago. And for whatever reason, she had a little resistance to Chicago because she wanted to go. And then I made the offer. I'm like, you could come too and come to the con. And she didn't want to do that. But I mean, I did take the swing. But Dallas, she had no interest in. So that was good. She just said, okay. But if I started saying I was going somewhere like if we were going to like Paris or something to meet someone, that would have some resistance because like that's somewhere she would actually want to go.
So listen, let's go. Then get on the boat and go. Come. What are you doing? Put in some vacation time and let's go. Right?
That's fair.
I mean, if it was somebody good, listen. That's how I. I don't know. There's no point in speculating, but I think there are certain names that would get us out there. So, look, if that Brock Lesnar thing in Canada wasn't on like a Thursday when we had work, I would have finagled something. No.
I mean, if we would have pulled the Class 316 and flew into Montana and then like I mean, it would have been, imagine the meta content of that road trip and it would have been wild.
Yeah. I kind of want to drive through Montana because I mean, it's supposed to be absolutely beautiful. Like a truly beautiful drive in a way that even like the drive to Pittsburgh, through the mountains and stuff is really nice, but this is on another level, Yeah. So it's like driving through the Salt Lake City region. It was really beautiful. There's certain areas that are just really nice. So, I would,
is Staten Island one of them?
No, it's not. That's a moot point. It's over. So who knows? Anyway, what else? Vin was out there. He did Tribeca. You got to have a lot of stamina. You got to have a lot of fortitude to do these events. It's funny because the names that you can get out there are incredible. And I don't have it in me to do those events. I'm like, you really gotta be diligent, and you gotta just keep your chin up, and you need to absorb like catastrophic fails in order to get the good stuff. So I mean, Vin hit Tribeca. He got Paul Rudd, Whoopi Goldberg, DJ Khaled, Natasha Lyonne, Ryder Strong, Will Friedle, Chuck D, Flavor Flav. Graphs from a whole bunch of people, Will Ferrell, Whoopi Goldberg on his Rat Race print, thousands of dollars worth of value, right? Who you would pay for at a con. I mean, Natasha Lyonne, I would pay money for at a con. I paid big money for Paul Rudd when he was at NYCC. I would pay big money for Whoopi Goldberg. I already paid for Ryder Strong and Will Friedle and stuff. So big money. These guests, but I mean, I don't even want to go into the list of misses that he had because I don't believe at events like that you can get hung up on the misses. You're going to miss a lot of people because a lot of the tippy top stars aren't going to stop, or they're going to be in and out. Like De Niro's in and out of Tribeca 1,000 times. He'll stop 5 times out of the 1,000 times. If you happen to be lucky, awesome. But I don't think you should like belabor that, or if you do not go to Tribeca hoping for De Niro. You go to Tribeca hoping for other things, and if you get De Niro, cool. But that's just not a realistic expectation, right?
Yeah, you're not batting 1,000 at a thing like Tribeca, especially not on like De Niro. I think the surprising thing was Pacino in New York. This for Tribeca and whatever else he was doing. I don't think he touched a pen once. Every video I saw, he was basically sprinting in varying levels of intoxication from point A to point B. He really wasn't doing anything. Which I mean, he's in his late 80s now. When he was last on Broadway and was like a machine every night, you're talking probably 10 years ago. And you know, this age, when you get into your 80s, 10 years is a lifetime. But I think the time has sort of passed where Pacino is really an easy get.
You're probably right, and especially when he does all the privates and whatnot. You know, whenever these guys start doing privates, start getting paid for their graph, they take a slightly different posture towards signing for free, understandably.
Yeah.
So Vin did fantastic at Tribeca. I'm still, when I write this up and when I make the summary, I'm not going to use his name because that's part of the reason to listen is if you give away everything in the freaking write-up, it's not as interesting. But now, anyway. And now I can't use his name ever again in the write-up because now that are you one of those people now when someone notices something, innocuous or not, when someone notices something, then you can't ever change it?
Depends on the person, depends on the thing. So the write-up's going to say how others did well in Tribeca.
Yeah. No, or I'll say something like members. Members went to the Tribeca, because someone else went to Tribeca too. I think. I forget.
So now we're writing about others' members. Wow.
Yeah. Well, that was terrible. See, you had a success, and that then other attempts were not as successful. But it's one of those things.
Much like Tribeca, you're not going to bat 1,000.
Nah, I can't. It's weird when I get this perception that something like bothers someone, then I just can't. I hyperfixated on it. Then I become aware of it. I wasn't even the funny thing was when I did it originally, I wasn't even really aware of it. I was just like, I'll just I'll take the name out, so you'll hear the name in the episode. And didn't give it it really was no more than a passing thought like that. So anyway, now he's going to be members. I'll come up with something funny. I don't know. I'll think about it. What else is there? So Jimmy ran into Ryder Strong and Danielle Fishel. Was he also doing Tribeca?
It seemed like it.
Yeah. I think he was less willing to blow the hippo like Vinny was.
I respect the respect of the hippo. You got to respect the hippo. And Jimmy did a great job. And I'm going to hope and pray that all the idiots, like, who are they? Like, I'm hoping they're just trying to be funny with the same unfunny joke, much like the last unfunny joke I just made. I hope it was that. Like anyone under the age of, 50 and over the age of, 15 should sort of know Topanga and Sean. Like, come on.
You know what I think it is, though? Maybe. Like, you look at Vin's report, right? Paul Rudd, Whoopi Goldberg, DJ Khaled, Natasha Lyonne, those people have very high Q ratings. They're very recognizable facially, internationally, etc. Ryder Strong, Will Friedle, a significant dip below that in terms of facial recognition.
Will Friedle maybe, but Danielle Fishel, I mean,
I don't think she
was like an entire generation's crush. Like literally.
Yes, but I don't think she touches that other level of those four. Those four are big. They're genuinely big names. And she's like a secondary. So maybe that's, but also, I don't know, maybe that's the joke. I don't know, maybe people are just dumb. I don't know. It wouldn't look, we've said this before, think of how dumb the average person is, right? And half the population is dumber than that, So nothing would surprise me about people not knowing things. Anyway, Josh Black, he went to IWA Deep South. I didn't know IWA Deep South was still around. I mean, they were like, that's where Necro Butcher got started. That's where CM Punk in his early days was. That's an old promotion.
Yeah, I haven't heard about it in forever.
So that's kind of interesting. What else? Chris Eastwood met Jerry O'Connell. Jerry O'Connell is always the nicest guy ever, and of course he was the nicest guy ever. Again, with Chris, it seems to be his thing.
Yeah, Jerry is nothing but consistently great.
Did you get Jerry at Terrificon with me or no?
Got him on Broadway twice. Got him at Terrificon. Yeah,
that was so cool. And his wife was there, and she was signing, and he was just hanging out. And he was walking around doing free photo ops. So that was fantastic from Jerry's. I got him. Very cool. What else? Adam Morgan. He went to SpaceCon. Got John Cena, Peter Weller, among others. But you had said that you saw some reports. They weren't posted on Marked Out, so I really don't love the idea of talking about them and giving them airtime. But you wanted to point out that, well, good. You got the report, so you talk about it.
A consigner was talking about how that the show took years off their life, which, I mean, if you've seen some of these consigners, that's actually kind of a scary thought, because there's probably not many years on their life to begin with.
It's also a blessing for the rest of us who pay into like the disability insurance. Sorry. Anyway.
But they said it was an awfully run show. The VIPs were oversold, just bad organization, and it was honestly not a fun or relaxing time at all. It just was very stressful. And I've never really heard much about SpaceCon. Like, I know about it. I know they have big names, but I've never really heard too much like firsthand stuff. Besides Adam, no one on our groups seemed to be there and sharing anything. But anyone out there that's listening, if you went, how was it? Good, bad, and ugly? Please share something with us. So now that we're international, well, not international yet, but we are domestically traveling all around the country now for shows. SpaceCon may hit our windshield one of these years, and it would definitely be nice to know how they run the show.
That's definitely true. Definitely true. And then Artie Clay went out to and the MLW show. He met the MLW roster. And it's funny, aside from Tiara James, was she absent? Is she still with them?
I think she posted something about being an MLW, and then I was looking to see if she was giving away freebies. And he didn't have her, so I'm assuming, I think she was there. Who the hell knows? Tiara's like omnipresent.
All right. Wicked Ink Wednesday. We had another one this week. And you didn't post.
No, I didn't. I forgot.
I remembered. I dug up a picture of one of my old Great Muda t-shirts. It was like that. It was the New Japan Pro Wrestling, or maybe it was Pro Wrestling Noah. I'm not even sure. No, it was New Japan. The New Japan Pro Wrestling collaboration with Hello Kitty, and they released merchandise that was like a crossover, and it was like a Great Muda Hello Kitty shirt, like on a sign. It's one of those things that I thought would be like very rare and valuable, and it is very rare, but I don't think anyone wants it but me, so it's not valuable. But I don't know. Anyway, I dug it up, but there are a couple of cool things posted on Wicked Ink Wednesday. So first, Matt got the new Demolition Funko 2-pack done. Are you gonna get that and get it done or no?
It's a possibility.
It looks great.
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility. I got to see if Ken or anyone like that has any plans of bringing them back for this. Will I walk up to vendor ABC and pay actual
premium pricing?
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. If I can get it done with one of the people I deal with more regularly for a more fair price, then most likely.
Amy Jo Johnson's always close to my heart because of her role in Interstate 60. She's a Pink Power Ranger. Calvin got his Pink Power Ranger Funko Pop signed by Amy Jo Johnson. And then finally, I actually wanted to run this by you because I thought it was really cool. So Chris Collector, he watches. I guess he watches the show. He likes the show Moonshiners, which is on Discovery Channel, and he got an 11x14 cast piece signed. But he made a custom mat for it and kind of 3D printed raised letters. Would you ever do something? I feel like this is kind of a cool thing, to like do custom matting in a way that could be done at home. That doesn't take like a lot of arts and crafts really to 3D print something that would be able to do it. Is that something that you like saw and piqued your interest at all?
Well, here's the thing. You would have to purchase or have access to a 3D printer, which I don't really know if I ever would. I can't actually see a scenario where I would. So that would be my first stumbling block. But I mean, I'm looking at it right this second again, and it looks great. It really does. But I mean, I guess you 3D print each letter, and you're gluing them on, and then if the glue fails, you go, one of your things dropped. And I mean, I don't know. Probably not, to be completely honest.
I have a 3D printer, so that's why it piqued my interest. Yeah, if I get started in this scene, not much. I got it as a Christmas present, like 200 at 250, I think. So they're really. I mean, the problem is it's a lot of work, and they also require a pretty wide open space because they give off fumes that you can't just you can't put it in. No, you have to be not like you don't have to put it it's in my living room. I couldn't put it in a smaller room where the fumes would stay. So
makes sense. Yeah, it's a lot of work. It sounds like a lot of work, but it's awesome. It looks really cool.
I mean, if you have one at school, you can take advantage of that too. Throwing it out there.
I don't even know if we do.
Really? We have a few. The
I
tech
think we have
teacher.
one. Yeah, I think the tech teacher has
does it.
one.
So I don't know what they're doing in there, but I had asked him for something, and then he ended up making me a Julius Caesar head that's on my desk, which is awesome, by the way. So I don't know. I like that stuff. We also had Photo with Friday. So this is funny. I don't know Todd. It's this guy Todd, but he posted a picture from the early '90s with himself like talking to Hank Aaron. And he did note that it was of questionable validity because they were like facing each other but not facing the camera. But I mean, I just thought it was super cool. Yeah, I mean, you have a picture of yourself as a kid talking to someone like Hank Aaron. That's just incredibly cool now.
Yeah, and he's speaking our language with validity.
I love that. Every time like the marked out lingo makes it into other people's mouths or in their writing, I just think it's the funniest thing ever. I really do.
How the hell did Hank Aaron look that young in 1990? Holy crap. Yeah, you kind of think of, I understand, but you kind of, Hank Aaron's one of those guys. I feel like I've never seen Hank Aaron young. Like, he looks younger to me than he looked when he was playing. I guess it must be the angle of the picture.
Yeah, definitely.
Looks very young.
Ron posted a photo with Ravishing Rick Rude from 1991. So I don't know if that's like in between WWF and WCW or right when he started with WCW. I think it was right. It had to be in between, actually, because he said he found them in an indie show. So I don't think WCW contract talent even back then was doing indie shows, but they could have been. I'm not sure.
I think it was before WCW.
So I guess
that's wild. I mean, suited Rude back in the day at indie shows.
Shoot, did I ever tell you? I don't remember if I did. I passed on a suited Yoko in an indie show.
I don't know if you said it on the air. I've judged you in person for this, but not on the air.
I was at it was in like Baltimore adjacent, somewhere in, I don't know if it was the outskirts of Baltimore. But it was an indie show and Yoko was on it. And I was there and he was selling Polaroids at intermission. And I just didn't do it.
Look on the bright side. You probably would have lost the Polaroid and then you would have felt even worse.
Maybe that's true. But I feel like, because stuff from that era I have saved. You know, I do have like my Mankind 8x10 from 97. I still have those. So,
So maybe you just screwed up profoundly.
Yeah, you know what it was? I didn't care. I didn't care about the Yoko era of WWF. I was there. But I want to say, because I know I'm going to mix it up, because there were like I saw like 3 or 4 indie shows with this one. Like it was Maryland Championship Wrestling, I think, and it was run by can't remember the guy's name. Not Jungle Boy. That's obviously not. That's AEW guy. No, it's something like that. Jungle something. God damn, what's his name? Hold on. Tarzan something.
I was gonna say everyone knows that you can't be like 9 years old running an indie show. That just doesn't make sense.
Jungle Tarzan, something like that. I can't remember his name. This is gonna kill me.
Others.
Damn guy.
Let's just call him Others.
I'll just call him Others. Yeah. It's so frustrating. Whatever. But like a lot of people passed through that the Maryland area, but I can't remember now because a couple different shows. But like there was one show I was there because the main event was Masato Tanaka versus Mike Awesome. Okay, like come on, you know. So like, that's why I was going. I wasn't going for Yokozuna. You know, now I'm gonna try and like Google if I can find when that show was. Yokozuna MCW. Yeah, Yokozuna in Salisbury, Maryland, defeated Big Bad Biggs in November of 1998. So that would have been when I just got to college. Yep. Isn't that crazy?
Wild.
So actually, there's a couple of them because it could have been in Glen Burnie, Maryland on November 4 of 98. It was one of those 2 shows. So it was either in Glen Burnie or Salisbury, Maryland.
And you goofed. You screwed up.
I was there. Maybe if I cross-referenced that with the other matches on the card, I don't know. I can't believe I'm doing this right now. It's totally ridiculous. But
you're really invested in this.
Yeah, well, yeah, because I remember it was crazy. Was it this one? No, that's the same one. What about? No, well, it was the I'll tell you right now. It was the other one. So it was November 4th, 1998 in Glen Burnie, Maryland. The main event was Terry Funk and Corporal Punishment against Tom Brandy and Romeo Valentino. So it was horrible. It was also Stevie Richards and Earl the Pearl. Earl the Pearl was on all these shows. What a horrible wrestler. Adam Flash was always on these shows. It was Blue Meanie and Supernova against Quinn Nash and Joey Matthews. That's where I first saw Joey Matthews and Christian York. I remember Christian York. I remember saying like he's a horrible wrestler. Anyway, these were horrible shows. So this was not when I saw Masato Tanaka and Mike Awesome. The question is, when did I see Masato Tanaka and Mike Awesome? Now I'm gonna go crazy. What? Because it wasn't ECW. Obviously, it was before that. Whatever. I'm not gonna do this now. I'm gonna go insane.
I think you're really flipping out about this.
Maybe it wasn't Mike Awesome. It was Masato Tanaka against someone else. Then I'm messing my dates up now. I'm like, it's been so long. I'm messing it up. It was Masato Tanaka was there, not Mike Awesome. Or if it was Mike Awesome, whatever. I don't know. Now I'm really getting turned upside down. But I was definitely at that show in Glen Burnie, Maryland, on a Wednesday night in 1998 because I remember how horrible this show was. I remember Tom Brandy acting like he was a big timer too. But now Tom Brandy sells memorabilia on Facebook.
How the tables have turned.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know where the hell I was going for that incredible detour there. Blah blah blah. What else? And then the final photo. Photo with Friday I pulled was Andrew with Raekwon at a liquor store, and I pulled it because I was like, "How the hell did you not get Raekwon?"
I vaguely remember that. I don't remember what I was doing, but at a point in my life, I was like nervous of those like sort of undefined things if they're going to do photos, and I would get in my head and think they probably wouldn't, when in actuality, all of these things do photos. And I just thought myself out of things, which is whatever. But yeah, definitely jealous of that one. One of these days I'll get him.
As long as he lives. It's a key thing with these guys.
That is true.
All right, so doing your news.
All right, starting off, the Fabulous and the Let's Rap About It podcast crew, Mano, Jim Jones, Dave East, they had a video up, a little clip from their show where they were sort of discussing their experience with the meet and greet that I took part in. And it was funny to see these guys that don't really do meet and greets. Like, I think Dave East probably does more than the other ones, and the other ones do next to none. Fabulous, Jim Jones does a couple of like liquor things. But in any case, they were talking about how different fans would like walk up and be like, I want you two to get out of the photo. I just want to be with this one. I want to be with these two. And they were getting a little annoyed about it, it seems. You know, these are people that are not used to the insanity that comes with these meet and greets. They don't understand that if you're not next to the person directly, to a lot of these freaks out there, us included, that you could have some issue with validity.
So that's that. Talk about Eternal Con too, because this is a thing that happens. It seemingly happens more frequently now.
Yes, Eternal Con, the Long Island show that had like one good year and then kind of now is on like life support essentially. It was originally scheduled for September. I'm trying to see when it was actually announced, for July 11th and July 12th. So they announced two people from Big Trouble in Little China, which I actually missed, but this would have been good now, given I'm starring that Laserdisc with Kurt Russell. But they announced this in April and then pretty much silence ever since. And people were starting to comment like last year with the shows in like 3 weeks, what's going on? And after much consideration, we made the difficult decision to reschedule this year's event due to an unforeseen event conflict. The event conflict was that people were going to anything and everything beyond, besides this, and they knew they would take a massive bath. So right now they secured September 12th and September 13th, which is when we will be in Dallas. So I certainly hope Eternal Con continues sucking. But yeah, I don't really know why this thing keeps existing. Last year's like a complete bust. It seemed like the vendors who brought talent in took a real beating. The vendors selling merchandise seemed to do nothing. Like, I don't know who would come back to that as an agent or a merch dealer if you lived through it last year. So I'll believe it.
Do you have sympathy for these vendors who go to a show like that expecting to make money?
No, honestly, if anything, I find it amusing. But I mean, just for the sake of commenting and content and giving commentary, I have to seem sympathetic. But no, most of the idiots I saw, they were selling either complete junk or just outright fake autographs. In which case, either way, if you're too dumb to think that you should just throw this stuff out, or you're too shady and slimy to try to sell fake autographs, I kind of just am happy to see you fail either way.
Yeah, like I always been talking about like not only just the vendors, but the vendors bringing in talent and stuff like that. Like you have to know you're not going to do well at a show like that. They can't get bodies through the door. You know, even when they had pretty good names. You know, when that time we went, when they had like Ray Fisher. Now Ray Fisher had come off Justice League. That was like a big movie. He was in a big movie. There was no one there.
They had that one good show, the one good show with CM Punk, Edward James Olmos, Ray Fisher. That was a good lineup. And then they had the one, not quite as good, but when we did the Big Show private with Unger, and you had Big Show, you had the dude from The Boys, who was also in Smile, and there were a number, like some Walking Dead people I needed. That was like a small type of con, but it had a little sizzle, at least for me. The last couple after that, I mean, you're talking, VFW Hall stuff. Just nothing good.
So yeah, the show has really fallen from grace.
Yeah. And in other Long Island Con news, Extravacon, which is in November in Melville, they are putting together a little Hey Arnold reunion. You have the original voice of Arnold, Lane Turan, and there's like numerous voices. You have to decide if the longest running one or the first one, which one, maybe all of them, who really counts for you, but that's pretty cool. The creator of the show, Craig Bartlett, and the voice of Gerald, the only voice of Gerald, Jameel Walker-Smith. I'm a Hey Arnold guy. That was in my heyday.
I love Hey Arnold. Hey Arnold's a great show.
I was 11 or 12 when that came on. I'm actually surprised you watched it. I guess that
you know what it is? My brother watched it.
Yeah.
And so I was by default kind of,
So I think tentatively, I'm in for that show. I mean, I'll start a print or something. I mean, it's close enough. It's cool. It's not the only voice of Arnold, but whatever. I think I'm in for that. That's fun. That's the kind of local little reunion I love to see.
Yeah, I'm here for it also.
All right, keeping the train moving. The show, one of the shows that we abandoned. Connecticut's a boring state now. Now we're going to Illinois and Texas. But Terrificon is still making moves, even without our attendance. And they booked Samantha Scafidi from the Terrifier universe. And I'll tell you, my Terrifier fandom has really it never recovered. Honestly, that was like my Emperor Palpatine moment. Like waiting all day on that damn autograph line in Oaks, Pennsylvania, and getting nothing signed. It has
I still think that was the most unprofessionally I've ever been treated at a con.
Yeah. And I've never regained the itch. I had $1,000 in my fanny pack and a cart filled with stuff that I've sold a bunch of the Funkos. I just sold one of those cereal boxes just before we went on air.
I saw it popped up on the thing.
I mean, am I saying I'll never get him again? Probably not. I'm sure I'll get something, but I haven't felt an itch yet. I'm good. I have one. I have two. I don't need a print for three. I don't care. It really just took a spark out of me for the whole I haven't even watched the third movie. I've lost a bit of a spark for the whole thing.
Yeah, same though. I actually haven't sold my Terrifier stuff, but now that you say that, I want to. I was so pissed, and I don't even know if we really ever reckoned with. That was the most disrespectfully I think I've ever been treated at a con. Look, I understand that when you're in a line, just for background, we sat in line at Oaks, Pennsylvania all day from open to close. And then he was just going really slowly. And we weren't that far back. And then he goes to do the photo ops. And they say, well, everyone who's in line, we're going to give you a number. I mean, my number was 14 or 15. We were not that far back.
No.
And then after we got back from the photo ops, he just declined to ever come back and do the rest of the signing.
I didn't for a moment think we were in jeopardy with that number. I didn't at all. And thank God, for me more than you, because I don't think you even did anything else. I kept tagging out and going and doing other things.
Yes.
There's a lot of people that we were around that they did nothing. They sat, that was their day. They stood there and got nothing. And I guess
got the pro op with him. That's it. And the girl.
I guess devil's advocate could argue, oh, well, that's why you limit to 2 or 3 items per person. And people like us that had 8 and 9 and 10 pieces each, That's what took the time. Perhaps.
It
life
didn't.
stories.
It didn't. I don't really. It was life stories. It was life
And
stories. It was also.
It shouldn't have been selfies. He's beyond that. There shouldn't be.
Had he come back, but had he come back from the prop, there were still hours left in the con. He just declined to come back.
Yeah, all of it was weird, and I feel like a lunatic saying that like impacted my fandom of a franchise. Like, but it kind of did. It kind of did. Well, I regained my spark. I hope. I actually enjoyed the movies, but I don't know. I don't think I'll ever have $1,000 in my fanny pack waiting to give it to him again.
Absolutely not. Never again. Yeah, he is my second Emperor Palpatine. But you were really deflated by that whole day.
I was. I really was. But what are you gonna do? And
True.
Just moving right along. RICC had Random Week. They added Heather Graham, which objectively I guess is good, but she never moves a needle when she's there. Anson Williams and Don Most, which I assume if they're part of Random Week, that probably means because you could have done Henry and Ron Howard and made it a Happy Days week, and they didn't. And that says something. So I think we're going to get those two alone, which is like whatever. Melissa Gilbert from Little House on the Prairie, it's funny. I've been seen it on, like I've never sat down to watch it, but part of me, this is one of those names that right now in June, I'll kind of put on my list because I feel like historical significance, I should have her. But once November hits, she'll be cut from my list for things I actually care about. And
I love that you have a tentative list and then a cut list. It's very funny.
Well, I mean, I don't. I have one list, but I'm self-aware enough to realize that I do this every year. When the lineup is thin, I have people I'm going to get, and then when it gets bigger and I realize I don't want to spend $3,000, I cut things. So she'll be cut for sure. And then Jeremy Jordan, who was just on Broadway, and now he's here, and I don't. He was popular on Broadway. I don't think it's going to translate much up here. Do any of these names work for you? Are you excited about anything?
The show's a dud. And it's actually getting alarming now. They're starting to fill it out, and it's dud. It's alarming.
I mean, Heather's going to be on the ice. So, yeah, that's something.
I got her. Where did I get her? Where did I get her?
I don't remember where we got her. Right? Yeah. But I'm saying now we're starting to see some people hitting the ice. We got
Terrific Connor Steele. I can't remember where I got her, actually.
But I'm saying we got like 6 people on the ice already. So it's getting a little alarming. This might be a one and done, go in, get Douglas and try to catch the boat back. Like this may not be an overnight.
They're going to screw it. Douglas is going to have like a 7 p.m. photo op or something,
Yeah, he'll sign at 10 and then do photo ops at 7 p.m. That's probably how they'll do it.
Something horrible like that. So
all right. Big event adds Maurice, Mrs. Mizanin. She has not done one of these in a little while. People seem to be excited about that, so that's cool. Steel City.
Maurice?
I don't. I was saying that to you. I try not to be super critical of things, but like there's a lot of names at the big event I don't need this year, and a lot of people seem to be very excited. And what it comes down to is I don't really have nostalgia. Like I don't need to see Ted DiBiase again after we did the DiBiase posse party with him. Like, I'm going to see him again and be like, hey, remember when we co-promoted the DiBiase posse party at that church? Like, no. Heidenreich, like a lot of that era's people. There's a lot of rare names. It's just not people I need. I keep hoping that somehow Jesse Ventura is going to show up, who I have several figures for. But
yeah, I mean, I don't think DiBiase will draw more than a handful. He was a low-end name in a low-end time. I don't think any fans at all. I mean, we got to one day tell the story of the DiBiase posse party, truthfully. Did we ever tell that on here?
I got to make sure I still remember it, like in great detail. I think I do. No, we didn't. We need to. It was definitely, it was an experience. It really was. We were making back in the forum days, we were making some moves as far as like things we were doing to promote the brand. It's just in a time before there was really an algorithm as much as like the Google like web crawler type stuff that like would just sort the Google searches. It was a lot harder to really like gain. Like if we were doing something of that equivalent today, that we were like if we were doing like a Chad Gable party that we were like promoting, and we would gain probably 3,000 people just from that. Like it would be huge. But back then, like it didn't really move a needle for us because like what was the needle to move? But I mean, we definitely have to talk about it one day.
For sure. it was definitely an interesting time. We try it, and it's a whole thing to talk about. So
Yeah.
Steel City Con, which we're now committed to not attending, has added Emil Hirsch, Randy Havens, and John Morris. I actually saw one more ad today, but just an ad this morning. Did you see?
Let me look right now. You also missed Lita, which I'm sure a lot of fans will miss Lita there because who cares about Lita?
Well, Lita draws though.
I guess
she does.
Again, that era, I don't care. I'd be more excited to see. I don't see an ad today. Last ad I see today, they updated their cover photo. I'm not gonna lie, it's not the worst Steel City lineup. Emil Hirsch definitely means Alicia Cuthbert's going to be there. And people got her in New York this week, and she actually still looks like Alicia Cuthbert, which makes the whole, like, the reunion a little cooler. But, I mean, I don't think anyone was really that big of a fan of The Girl Next Door. It was one of those, like, forgettable, like, teen comedies.
Yeah.
It wasn't that. I was much more of a Euro Trip guy in that era than I was.
Well, I mean, The Girl Next Door was just a remake of what do you call Risky Business. So it's like whatever. It was fine. It was a fine movie, but it wasn't like crazy,
Yeah, at that point she had some sizzle with 24 and different stuff, and they just wanted a vehicle for her to be in like Daisy Dukes and sell tickets. So that's what it was. But yeah, she's going to be added, I would imagine, and I'm not tempted to go. I wish Rhode Island. That is a Rhode Island reunion if I ever saw one. I'm hoping when Steel City passes, they will announce Emil and Cuthbert, because they do that sometimes. They won't announce something until that event passes.
So either way, nothing. I mean, there's some cool ads now for Steel City, but nothing that's like, oh my god, I must attend. If
I wasn't coming back, you go on.
I'm feeling pretty comfortable with our decision.
If I wasn't flying back from Jamaica the day before, we would hours before we would travel, I'd be like maybe a little more considering of it, but I'm not going to want to do that.
Now you're saying that with such confidence. Have you purchased that ticket yet?
No.
So you're assuming that flight exists.
It definitely exists. I get updates from our family member who's the travel agent for the whole thing, and she keeps updating me on prices. They were actually dipping the other day, but it wasn't really a great time. So we're waiting a few more days.
What else? The Super Jersey Comic Expo adds Priscilla Barnes, who is not dead, to their Mallrats reunion. That's
and obviously she didn't, but like
you lumped her in with Erin Moran is what happened.
I guess, but I thought there was a whole thing where I used to watch. I remember she had a resurgence on Jane the Virgin. Like it was a really great part she had on Jane the Virgin. And Jane the Virgin in and of itself was a really great show. I would argue top 3 all-time CW shows. It was really good. And I remember something about her being that she died. I mean, obviously I'm insane and she didn't, but I really thought she died or had cancer. There was something I thought that I was like, oh crap, I'm never going to get her. And now she's gettable, but I'm not going all the way to Jersey for her. So she'll probably die before I get her, but she's alive.
And you're still not going to get her, so she may as well be dead.
I agree.
And then finally, that Nostalgia Con over in Jersey. I'm going to be honest, probably the strangest con. I don't know what they're doing. They're trying a new con trying to get established in Jersey, and they came out really swinging hard with Noah Schnapp, right? And then they added nothing but anime guests and voice actors for a while, and the guest list was really floundering. And then all of a sudden this week, and this con is in a few weeks, right?
Yeah.
And they added John Cena, Kevin Nash, Chad Michael Murray. Kevin Nash is not going to draw at a show like that, but John Cena always draws. I don't care where you put him. And Chad Michael Murray will probably draw pretty well. So I don't know, though. I mean, is that con? I mean, is the plan to just throw John Cena money to have him, pull people through the door? But are they going to have vendors at the show? Like, I don't know, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. As of now, I still kind of want Noah, but I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things I could totally see myself bailing. I really could, but it's interesting. It's very top heavy, and then like nothing else. I've never seen a strategy quite like this. Because Cena's a big time guest as far as his, what he's costing to get out there.
Massive draw. Massive guest, massive draw, massive expenditure.
I'm looking on the website. It goes John Cena, and the next row is Ashley Eckstein, Candy Milo, and all these other anime people. Like that is.
Now, Ashley Eckstein is a draw. She is.
Yeah.
But a lot of them aren't.
Chad Michael Murray, Grant Gustin, they'll do, I think, okay.
Grant Gustin's a draw.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. John, I mean, Matt Lewis is there now, Neville, John Wesley Shipp, Matt Lanter from the animated Star Wars to go with Eckstein.
Matt Lewis didn't really draw at Steel City, though.
He did.
Rhode Island. I mean, Rhode Island.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know how it's going to do, but I mean, listen, they took some big swings. I hope they do well. And that's because I want to be accurate. It is a new con to New Jersey. But like, for example, they're running Anaheim in June, Jersey in July, Orlando in August, Minneapolis, September, Houston the second time around in October. So they got a lot going. And I don't know
how
stable they are.
Are there any interesting names at those shows that we could see pop up?
John Cryer is in Houston. Tom Welling is in Houston, but that's kind of far out. Orlando has Ross Marquand from. They have like 3 names announced. How do you have 3 names announced for August? That's a little weird. And Minneapolis, I don't think has anything for September. So I mean, it's one of those things where I guess if New Jersey's a colossal failure, it wouldn't shock me to see all of these just drop.
Topple like dominoes.
Wouldn't shock me, but we'll see. Hopefully not. I would.
What?
Oh, go on.
I was going to say I wasn't going to the commercial. So finish your thought.
I'm done. Let's go.
All right. So if you're shopping for autographs, check out www.markedoutcollectibles.com or our eBay store at Marked Out Collectibles. To contact us for any reason, email markedoutcollectibles@gmail.com or join the Marked Out Autograph Collecting community on Facebook. All links are in the show notes on Facebook and Substack. If you want your event, product, or brand advertised on episodes of Marked Out Radio, reach out to us today at markedoutcollectibles@gmail.com. Get your Marked Out Radio merch on our ProWrestlingTees.com shop. See the link below or check out the pinned post on Facebook. If you like what you're hearing, please subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts and leave a rating or review. You can leave a rating or review on Apple Podcasts. You can leave comments on individual episodes on Spotify or a review on Spotify overall, or you can leave a thumbs up, a thumbs down, or a comment on any episode on YouTube. So our main topic of the day, we've discussed a little bit about how to store items, and I'm undergoing kind of a little bit of a project at home from poster storage, and I thought it'd be an interesting thing to talk about, and how to store posters without getting them damaged. And so, up until this point, I have had my posters stored rolled in more or less wrapping paper bins, the bins you buy at the Christmas tree store to store your wrapping paper in. Should you even say how you have your posters stored?
I have them stored kind of. Let me see if you've ever seen the Leaning Tower of Pisa, just made out of paper posters, basically like that. They're stacked. When I try to treat them well, I take a piece of printer paper, I wrap it around the rolled poster, I put some frog tape on the paper to keep it in place, and I write on the paper like what it is. And some of them are like that. The vast majority, if I pulled it out of that and I never put it back. So they're really just nameless stacks.
So what I decided to do was switch over to binders. Because I don't like how over time the posters, when they're rolled, get crinkled. The posters, when they're rolled, can get damaged. Unfortunately, these bins taper at the bottom, so that when they're in there and I move them around, they can get jostled and the bottoms can get crimped a little bit and things can get a little ruined. And so I realized that it's actually best. It makes the most sense to store the posters flat, not rolled. I think also it takes up too much space. All these rolled posters. I have all these poster tubes. Would you believe I brought about 75 poster tubes to the dumpster yesterday or the day before? So many. And most of them I could never ship anything in because they're ruined over time. They get dings and dents, and just cardboard poster tubes can easily break, which I've unfortunately experienced a few times in the mail. So I will never ship a poster in a cardboard tube. I'd only ship one in a PVC anyway. But I made the decision to go flat. Here's the problem. It is very hard to come by a binder with 27 by 41 gigantic ass poster sleeves. You threw the magic brand name Atoya. Everyone uses Atoya. Atoya doesn't make sleeves that big. And so I ended up buying this from this company called Baroque. I actually had to pre-order the binder. The binder's not even coming until August, but they already sent the sleeves. And so I'm actually short some 27 by 41 sleeves, and I ordered a little too many 24 by 36 and a little too few 27 by 41. But it's getting there. My project is getting there. The goal will be to have everything flattened out.
So as you're flattening these out, are you just looking and being filled with love and appreciation for all you have, or are you being you and you're sort of deciding what you're going to cut?
Well, I think this is some of both, right? So I have a lot of posters, and not all of them. First of all, I have a decent amount of unsigned, and I've made the executive decision. I want to get rid of these unsigned posters. My issue is I'm not sure how to, because more or less anything that's worth less than, say, $50, I don't want to go through the rigmarole of selling it, because the poster collectors, they're very particular about the condition, and some of these have just dings and dents, and I'm really not that great in my handling of the posters, so there are some dings and dents and whatnot in them. And so, the first piece of it is separating all of the unsigned ones out. I was actually trying to think of maybe there's something I can do on the group, to get rid of these unsigned posters. But I don't know what the demand is for them, to be honest. I have like a Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince dual-sided original poster. Is there any value in that? I don't know. I can look it up.
I'll look it up now. The dangerous thing is you say something like that, it starts making me tempted to start it. But it's like, what the hell?
Right, I have a Borat poster. And if I ever met Sacha Baron Cohen, I'd love to get it. But, but any value there?
I'm typing right now. Half-Blood Prince, original poster, double-sided, one sheet. That's not double-sided then. I think it's like $40.
That's the danger zone for me.
50,
I'm not sure
60,
I want to.
Yeah, and they're not selling at these prices.
Right. They'd be sitting there for a year, and then I have to ship a poster. It's going to cost me $20 to ship, and I'm going to net 16.
Do you have the one where it's him and Ginny Weasley staring each other down?
I don't know.
That matters.
I have to look it up. I have to unroll it again.
But there's a lot of versions. Oh no, for value means nothing. I'm just looking at it from my own selfish needs. That then, like, if it was just those two on it, I could, in theory, buy it, get her on it, get him on it when he does Broadway again, and have a giant Harry Potter poster I'll probably never hang. That's
so yeah. I mean, I have a Spider-Man 1 poster that I had originally wanted to get Willem Dafoe when he was booked for Wizard World Philly 100 years ago. I have an original Sweeney Todd that I wanted to get Jamie Campbell Bower on. Was it Jamie Campbell Bower, or was it, who was it? Now I'm trying to remember. Was it the con? It was. I think so. That would have been why I bought that, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes. So he was booked for the same Wizard World as Willem Dafoe. I bought those at the same time. So I've been holding those for years. What else? I have a whole bunch. I have a whole bunch. I don't even know why I have. I have New Jack City, an original dual-sided. I think I can't remember who it even was. If someone was going to be at a con and I ended up not going to the chill. I don't remember what it was. But in any case, I have a whole bunch of original posters that are just unsigned. So I have those. Then I was looking through and I was flipping. Unfortunately, I don't have the binder, so I couldn't flip through lovingly and nicely. I'll get there. But I also have there are certain posters that I ordered online. Did you ever order from Dark Delicacies?
No, but New Jack City, $35.
See, these are all in the danger zone of stuff I don't want to be bothered with. So Dark Delicacies is this store in California, and they would often do signings in store, and you could buy quote unquote the poster for the cost of shipping. So I have some of these posters, I paid $8 for them because I bought them 20 years ago, that are signed posters, but they're dog crap. I have the movie Lynch Mob, which is this horrible B movie, but it was starring Tony Darrow. I believe Tony Darrow is dead, right?
He is.
So I have Tony Darrow from Goodfellas on this poster of. No, he's not dead. He's 87 years old. Why did you say he was dead?
I thought he died.
No. All right, so he's not even dead. So I have Tony Darrow from Goodfellas. He's 87 years old. On this Lynch Mob poster. Lynch Mob is a dog crap independent horror movie. I paid $8 for it, but I have it. It's signed. It's a 27 by 40 original. What do I do with that? No
Hang
one
it
wants that.
in a place of honor.
Where? No, for real. What am I going to do with it? So it's occupying space. I looked at it. I laughed at why I have it. So
yeah,
anyway,
you're gonna do nothing good with it, nothing at all. So I don't know what the answer is. That's the problem with organizing. Then you end up with new questions that you didn't have before because you were kind of oblivious to its things existing.
Well, to make matter, to make the long and the short of it, I have now more or less flattened out and put away all my big ones. I'm waiting for the other. I have 20 more sleeves coming to put the rest of them in there. Then I bought an 11 by 17 Atoya to put my 11 by 17s in, and I realized I have a decent number of 12 by 18. I have 13 by 19s, by the way. Do you have any 13 by 19s?
I don't.
I have a whole bunch. Then I have 18 by 24s, and I have what's the other size that we 16 by 20. And so I have a whole bunch of these things. So I'm going to go out buy another Atoya to fit these. But I want to get them flat and away. And I don't want to have them rolled where they'll be damaged. And also I can honestly take these flattened binders and stick them under the bed, which is the plan for these things, to be stuck under the bed. Is that sad?
Not really. I mean, that's life. But
so,
it's definitely costing you a pretty penny. But I actually had a whole discussion with some guy on the original poster group yesterday. He posted, which it wasn't even an original poster. He doesn't even, realize he's in the wrong group. But he posted some 11 by 17 of the boys, and he got it done at a con, like 6 signatures. He definitely spent at least $500-600 on it. And of course, he put in like a $12.99 Walmart special frame. And I commented about that it's going to get ruined, and he really should put it in a better frame. And then other people joined in, and I've never had that problem. Obviously, you could tell he's been collecting all of like a year and a half. And, I've never had that problem. I'll be fine. And it's like, okay, you won't be fine, but you're such a moron. You probably think you'll be fine. And
I love it. I've never had that problem. Ignore the people with experience.
I told him it sticks to the glass. He's like, oh, did you have it in the sun? As if sun is going to make something stick to the glass. I'm like,
instead of moisture.
Sun has nothing to do with it. It's moisture in the air. And I think I exceeded his brain cells with that response. And I mean, it is what it is. You can lead a horse to water, but some are dumb enough to drown while trying to drink. That's the reality.
Agree. But you use the Atoya. So my question to you is, you use the Atoya, you use the binders for your 11 by 14s, for your 11 by 17s, or no?
And my 8 by 10s. Pretty much everything. But
not the bigger stuff.
No. Because the bigger stuff I'll be, because it's too expensive. Eventually I will, but I'm not liquid enough right now where I say, oh, let me spend $500 to like deal.
So it's a matter of cost?
Yeah. One day that will hit my priorities and I'll do it. For sure. It's really the only way. Everything flat. These sleeves are acid free. Another thing Genius over there doesn't realize with these Walmart frames. And I think I get extra annoyed about it because I was that idiot way back when I was like, oh, I'll be fine. It doesn't happen. I had it in there for 3 months. I took it out. It was fine. Not realizing that, things change over time. So I was that person.
Hell, even leaving stuff in top loaders is a problem.
Not as bad as this, but yes, it's not a good thing. Atoyas are the way to go. It really is. I mean, I guess you could do acid-free, like triple ring sleeves and a three ring binder. I suppose that's just as good, but I don't know. I like the smoothness of the Atoya. It's easier. You're not dealing with because sometimes you have the tendency it gets too big, and the binders, they're if they curve, you don't get to stack them right. You could stack these Atoyas 6 feet in the air, and they're nice and flat, and nothing's bending or curving or anything. It's worth the money, and I'm definitely gonna do the full size eventually.
So that was my decision. And mainly part of it was to clear out space because I want to get rid of these bins. But also to protect these things. And it was nice going back and looking at some of them. I forgot some of these projects that I have. And I have a bunch of folded posters. I have to get out of my parents' basement, unfold them, and then put them in the sleeves as well. It's a whole other project. And then of course some of them are I have a couple of oversized. That's another whole thing. there's a step above, there's a size above 27 by 40. Some of the oversized stuff, the quads and some of the foreign posters and stuff. I have a few of those. It's a nightmare.
I really, my days of full size posters, I might be done. I really might be done. I'm trying and I'm liking it. I'm really leaning so heavily on either laser discs or like the vinyl, like soundtracks. Like vinyl is such, even like to go get a random 11 by 17 if there's a vinyl of some sort out there. It's I sort of like this the symmetry of it all. It's all like uniform to like the music stuff I collect. I don't know. I'm starting to like that better than like anything else, and that's what I think I'm going to try to lean on going forward.
No, I understand that entirely.
But I'll always salivate for a good full size original poster.
There's something special about them, right?
To me, I mean, it's the way I imagine baseball collectors feel about baseballs, and probably the way I would feel about baseballs if all my balls didn't fade to absolute nothing. I mean, you know, I've cried about this enough. I'm not going to do it again. But when you have a whole collection like that you bought professional from Steiner and different companies, and they all like almost all faded to nothing. I mean, it's probably something I did wrong in storage, but like, I had them in cases. They weren't in the sun. They weren't floating in a pond somewhere. Like, I don't understand really what I did, and as a result, I'm not gonna like start again. I'll just never touch a baseball again. But to me, the full size original poster is that level of just classy timelessness. That it just is a perfect item if it was more practical.
Definitely. So, you know, I have the 11 by 17 Atoya. I ordered a 13 by 19 Atoya to take care of those, and then I'm gonna buy the large size, the 18 what did I say, 18 by 24 Atoya. I'll buy that
16 by 20. Yeah.
No, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna take. I don't have that many 16 by 20 items, so I'm gonna take my 16 by 20s and stick them in the 18 by 24 because that's close enough.
I told you to do that. You were telling me they weren't snug enough, and they wouldn't.
No, you said you said to put the 12 by 18s in there also. That's no good.
Oh no, that's not what I meant. I meant you could go one size up. You don't need.
Oh yeah, one size only is key. Yeah. So you could put the 11 by 14s. You can also put in the 11 by 17.
Agreed. I used to do that. Yeah.
So yeah, listen. This project's ongoing. I'll keep everyone updated how it all turns out. It'll probably be by the end of the summer when the binder comes, and I'll post some pictures of it when it's all done. But in the meantime, my goal, I want all of my flats gone. And then the next step is I have some magazines and other things like that. I got to figure out what to do with those too. I want all of my flats organized in binders and enough. I have my 8x10s in regular binders, like a 3-ring binder, with the holes. But because I don't have that many, but this is the way I want it. So I think it's time for listener questions.
Yes.
You want to take the first one?
Sure. Chris Giovanni asks, considering where prices was pre-COVID to today, where A-listers like Cage and Douglas being priced at $300 to $400, where do you think pricing will be for all types of stars in a few years from now?
That's a good question.
Yeah. I think we have a tendency to go, sky is falling. I think ultimately we can't really look at these prices and say, oh my God, how they've gone up, because prior to this era of cons, you didn't have people this size doing them. So we can't say what a Michael Douglas charged in 2009.
Or if they did stuff, it would be free because it was sponsored.
Yeah. Michael Douglas and Nicolas Cage would not have touched a con in 2009 or 2014 or anyone comparable. So this is the Oregon Trails right here of A-listers. So I don't think I can't point to some math equation and be like, look at this growth. I don't think there's been growth. This is all new. I think obviously things are going to go up, and there's going to be people that are harder to lure out than Michael Douglas and Nicolas Cage. I think if a Harrison Ford does it, you have to look to the pricing of the privates. If these guys are getting $1,200 a piece at an SWAU, they're not coming to a con in person and charging less than that. They're just not. So if you want to see where other names may be, I would say look towards their private prices, and then consider whatever the private autograph cost is probably what the photo op would be. And a guy like Harrison Ford would probably be $2,500, $2,000 maybe combo. It wouldn't be a combo obviously, but whatever when you put them together. And I mean, the way the market grows and the economy and inflation and all these things, obviously everything goes up a little bit. Every so often it keeps going up. And I mean, it's not going to be set up like people are afraid that the prices keep going up, but eventually, it can only go up so much. It's not going to be reserved for the billionaires. It's going to be accessible sort of to people that have decent jobs and are crazy like us. I don't think it's that scary. I mean, I'd rather be able to pay $800 for Michael Douglas combo than not have that option and just be able to pay, $70 for Burt Ward. Like,
I do think we're going to settle in. I think because right now, because the A-listers are rare, I think we're going to settle into tiered pricing. I think your A-listers are probably going to settle into somewhere in the ballpark of $800 to $1,000 for a combo, right? So that's where I think they're going to fall.
Yeah,
and that's going to be in the future.
And you agree with me, right? Like if Harrison did something tomorrow, he's already established his price. He's not going to be doing autographs of $500. Like he's going to be in that range if he even touched a pen.
Right.
But I agree with
you.
I
think it's hard because
to 1,000.
It's hard because the premise of Chris's question is hard because we're not really comparing apples to apples. As you pointed out, Michael Douglas didn't do anything before, so he hasn't gone up in price.
Yeah. And Chris's question is also all types of stars. I'm not really of the belief where a Michael Douglas charging $800. Like, I really don't think like a Josh Duhamel now is going to be carving and sort of shaping his RICC price menu based on what Michael Douglas is doing. Like Michael Douglas is going to be in some far off location, I imagine, not even near these people. It's a completely different ball game. Like you said, you're not comparing, apples to apples. This is completely different. So I don't think all types of stars are really going to be affected by A-list pricing. I think they have their own ebbs and flows that you can worry about. Premium pricing, just a runaway train of people thinking that they all deserve to charge these extra amounts of money for things that aren't very valuable because they're nobodies. I think that's more the concern of all types of pricing. I don't think Michael Douglas is really going to impact what, Squidward from SpongeBob is going to do.
Fair. So next, I don't really have anything else to add to that. I think that's pretty much how it goes. I think we're going to, the guests, they kind of tier out, and right now the greatest increase in pricing is at the lower bottom tier, right? The guests who used to be $15 or $20 are now $50 and $60. And that's you're talking about tripling or more, quadrupling the value. And that's the price, not the value, certainly not the value. And then that's
the value is leading into our next question.
Right. The guests who used to be $50 are not suddenly $200. Some, but not many. But anyway, we're seeing the low to middle end guests who are really blowing up the price scale. It's a good question, though.
It was. All right. David asks, when you buy signed items or pay for autographs at cons, do either of you ever have the thought, will I be able to eventually get back at least what I paid for this if I sell it in the future?
You answer this one.
Yeah. Somewhat. Definitely. I mean, it all depends. With wrestling, it's very rare, except for like a Fanatics Fest thing, which is typically photo op only. I don't really walk up and pay sticker prices very often, which again is not a flex. I'm probably spending more at the table than the average person. Just I walk away with a stack of stuff that I may or may not have difficulty selling. So I don't really like. It's a lot harder in wrestling worlds to really be able to buy a sticker price autograph and make money or break even on it. The deals I'm touching, I could usually break even on it if there's any interest at all. If there's no interest, you're out of luck. But I mean, if you're walking up to a table and spending, let's say you're spending $60 on Tito Santana or $50 on Tito Santana, which some vendors will try to price them at. Jimmy Hart, as much as I love him with Tony Hunter, you're not making that back. You could literally rip Jimmy Hart's like spleen out through his stomach and like kill him right on the spot. And advertise that as his last ever autograph, you're not making your money back. Like, it doesn't matter. It depends what you're doing, what you're getting signed. There's things you can do when you're making strategy of what you're getting signed. Things are more valuable than others. If you get a personalized 8x10, you're out of luck. If you get an 8x10 in general, you're probably out of luck. what are you getting signed? I think there's growth in full-sized originals, depending on the price scale and depending on the value of the poster. There's growth there. There's things like going back to what you said with Zach's, James Franco. How much strategy do you want to really put into collecting? And if you're putting strategy in, there's margins that you can sort of exploit. If you're just buying for the love of the game, more often than not, you're going to be out of luck, I think, as far as really making any money.
I'm going to be much more direct than you. I'm going to say no. The overwhelming majority of these prices you're paying knowing you're not making the money back. In fact, there have been instances where I did a little calculation and realized that the table price they were undercharging, and I was going to use that as leverage to make some money back, and I did. But those are so rare. Those are rare generally. Let me rephrase. Those have been historically rare. Today, it's almost impossible because everyone is priced so high.
I mean, I imagine with your Can't Hardly Wait that you have the 3 identical posters, you must have some feeling that you can do something with this, right? You're not just like burning money 3 times over, are you?
No, I am. I'm deciding. I'll eventually decide which poster I like the best, and then I'll just try to get as much back for the others as I can. I'm already in hundreds of dollars on these. Where do you think the ceiling is on them?
So wait, so you're actually, I mean, I understand where you're coming from, but I thought you had some weird angle on this. So you are willingly, you'll be slightly red on the other 2 when you sell them just to give yourself these options of which one you want?
Yes. That was the whole premise of doing it this way.
This is a new, I get why you did it, because you basically got the other 2 for free. I get that.
Yes.
But this is a sort of a new wrinkle in your eccentricities. You've never gone to this, level, at least that I can remember, where you were getting multiple done just to give yourself a choice.
I mean, I haven't done this before, but I think I've done it with Funkos, I guess, where I've gotten a couple varieties, and I was going to sell one, And this is definitely a little bit strange. I'm not pretending otherwise. But I mean, part of it, I honestly, the allure of having the posters that I didn't pay for signed was just too great, and I'm not even pretending that was a rational choice.
I understand it. I understand the irrational nature of it. It makes sense in a weird way.
But yeah, that's what's happening here. So I'm not. I really don't anticipate making any money on those. Just to be very clear, I don't anticipate making any money on them. I don't think I will. I would like to. Someone wants to buy one, sure, but on most of the stuff that I'm buying retail, I'm not making any money. That one year when Tom Kenny was selling his autograph for $35 at NYCC, and you look on eBay and I can get way more than $35 for this right now. Sure, then I was buying them, or the boys, right? When they were selling their graphs for $30 or $40, and I knew the boys Funkos had just come out. There was some heat, that there would be some demand there. Then sure. But that is, it's rare at this point because everyone's gone up. I mean, I paid, I want to say when I first got, for example, Anthony Starr, and it was $30 or $40 per. There's some wiggle room there. But I mean, when I got him at Rhode Island, it was 100, I think. So at that point, 100, Jesus Christ. I mean, let's talk about the reason why we stopped doing the Harry Potter Funkos on consignment. Was our wholesale consignment price was too high for us to make enough profit to make it worth doing. So knowing that, I'm not making any money on these things. It's not about that. If you wanna make money on these, you're best off buying collections wholesale and then trying to part them out. Then maybe you can make money. But you're not making money buying stuff or getting stuff signed at cons or private signings and then moving it, because the people doing the pricing on that end of it, they're too smart about that. They're not gonna allow you enough of a margin. They just won't.
Yeah, it's like the garage sale effect now, like in the eBay world. People, I saw somebody posted they found a mock Legion of Doom Hasbro at some toy show or a flea market or something for $50. But things like that are few and far between, because every idiot at one of these flea markets has the ability to look this stuff up, and they know what the price is. And you're not really finding these steals anymore. Right around COVID, when things were still low enough, that was a sort of a boom period where the customer was able to profit. the celebrity was making more money than they ever made at that point, and they were making money. Everyone was making money. But then when you start adjusting and you don't want someone else making more money than you're making, and before long, everyone's making less money, and the only one making some money is the star. So it's tough.
Absolutely. Last question from Ken. Got any stories of waiting in line to meet a celebrity and another celebrity stalls the line by coming up to say hi to the one you're waiting on? I had this happen several times. This past weekend, Brent Spiner interrupted as Arthur Darvill came out from behind his table to take a selfie with me.
Well, I know in Altoona we kept seeing Kellen Lutz he seemed like he was sniffing around.
What's her name? The hell was her name?
The one from the 100. I'm blanking.
I can't know. Eliza Taylor.
Eliza Taylor. He was looking for her at one point. She wasn't there. He came back again. He that was the most the most recent. But I always think back then when I first read this question, I thought back to that MAB show with Hogan, and you had Joe Frazier was like, at least when I was in there, he was like came over to see Hulk when I was about to get my photo op, and they were chatting for a little bit. And I snapped some candids of Hulk and Frazier, and I mean, did absolutely nothing for me at all, but it was memorable, I guess, to say the least.
It happens it happens so frequently that I don't even really pay attention anymore.
Yeah, there's definitely. I'll probably end up giving another answer in a couple of weeks when I think of some, but there was some that were like so entertaining or kind of crazy that it was like I'm just blanking on what they were right now, but there were definitely better ones than I gave.
Oh, for sure. Every show it happens, practically almost every show. So I mean, it is the kind of thing that sometimes can get annoying, especially if there's a limited amount of time and they waste each other's time with nonsense. That used to happen at the wrestling shows a lot, especially with someone who's never done a show before and they make the rounds and they're all excited. It was a thing. I mean, look, we did it ourselves with Sandman.
You were the problem. You cut the damn Rhea Ripley line with Heck.
I know. I cut the Rhea Ripley line, right? The one where everyone was waiting for hours. Yeah, no, I'm saying it's funny. Like I was the problem. I'm like, but Hack wanted to do it. I'm going to say, and Rhea was gracious. Thankfully, I wanted to die. To crawl under a rock somewhere. I wanted to crawl under one of those hypothetical rocks that you were going to pick up on the side of the road driving back from Altoona. But it happens all the time. In fact, I would say I'm almost numb to it at this point. I've been seeing it so many times. So I know it's an unsatisfying answer, but none of them even stick out because I've seen so many of them.
Fair.
So what's coming up for us? So you have way more than I do on this list here.
Of course. Tonight I have the Landry Shamet Knicks Championship party, which I'm sure it's not going to be much of a party. It's at the Bull Smith Tavern in Smithtown, which is a nice little 12-minute drive for me. It was $100 ticket that got you a photo op, open bar, which I don't drink, so I'm not going to get much value there, and a buffet. I'm sure, I'm not going to eat $100 worth of food. At least I hope I don't. But he's not going to be that much cheaper. He's not going to be much, I don't even know what his price is going to be at Fanatics. It won't be, it's not going to be $30. So the ease, the food aspect of it, I'm in. So I'm doing that. Tomorrow in the city, Griselda rapper Conway the Machine is doing a meet and greet. I have region stuff to do tomorrow. I'm tentatively going. If somehow the grading and stuff that I'm doing is not done in time and I can't get out of work in time, I will not be making it. But I should be able to get out a little early and do it. We'll see.
And then, of course, we have all the rest of our stuff that we've been talking about, right? I mean, that's we kind of talked about all this for so long. So it's like I don't know how much need there is to relitigate.
There isn't, but I think after this week, the Knicks finally go on sale for Fanatics Fest. So that should probably be it. I would think we're talking a couple of weeks out now.
How much more are you going to drop?
I don't know. I got to see. I got to see how unreasonable these prices are. Like I said, I don't think unless I have a split or something. Like if I have a split, would I do 500 on Josh Hart and split 250 each way? Maybe. Would I do it solo? Absolutely not. As much as I want it, that's just obscene. So it's going to depend what the pricing is. It's going to depend if my splitters are down. If it's me alone, I may cherry pick. I don't want to spend another $2,000. I don't on players that are going to never be higher than this. And I know photo ops don't really have a tangible value because you can't sell them, but it's a good, and every good has value, and they will never be higher than they are right now. And I'm a sucker in many ways, but I mean, I have to draw the line somewhere. So we'll see. But I will be able to really do the math after this week and see where I'm at. And I don't really know if I want to see where I'm at. But then after that, we got Chicago, we got Dallas, there was actually some sort of troubling news about Keanu Reeves coming over from Europe, where the meet and greet, despite being advertised as a solo individual photo op, they were sort of the people on the ground running it were trying to force people into groups. And it seems that people were effective and able to sort of argue their way into what they paid for, which is a little troubling because I would like to not have to do that. But also, even what they got is like weird. Like the band is standing behind this like sort of like bank rope thing, like one of those like sort of expanding like dividers, and like they're like you're all on the same level, but like why do I really need this like rope behind me? It's weird and unnecessary.
It's very strange, and it's very strange how they've continued to devalue this meet and greet. I cannot for the life of me understand that you have people willing to pay more for this thing. Why do you want to make their lives difficult? Just make them happy. It's a very, very weird thing.
And you raised a good point that it's almost certainly a different organization like running this in Europe. But what's scaring me is the people were sort of going by the email they got that says you get this individual photo. If they completely up and change course in the United States and send us an email that doesn't say that, or even worse, says the opposite,
we're in
granted,
trouble.
You can fight maybe with what the original listing says, but I mean, how successful are you going to be?
If you can find it.
Yeah. So I'm nervous a bit, and I probably should have been more nervous from the start. And yeah, it's not great, but I mean, hopefully we can salvage it and get something decent out of it.
It's tough, man. It's going to be tough.
We will keep everyone updated as the U.S. tour starts. I'm not even sure are we the start of that tour? Are we the middle? I don't know.
We can. I will look that. We can look that up after. There's no need to do that now.
Yeah, but we'll keep everyone updated.
Yeah. So once again, if you're shopping for autographs, check out www.markedoutcollectibles.com or our eBay store at Marked Out Collectibles. To contact us for any reason, email markedoutcollectibles@gmail.com or join the Marked Out autograph collecting community on Facebook. As of right now, we're going to be traveling so much that we have no signings coming up, but we can always say that can change at any time. But we do have a whole host of stuff on our eBay store. And by the end of the summer, that will hopefully be synergized across all platforms, including markedoutcollectibles.com.
It will be.
How we looking? I think we're good.
We're good. I'm ready
So
to get
do you
out
know
of
what next? Do you know what next week is? The significance of next week?
Our anniversary of the show.
It is our second anniversary. That's right. Next week is our 104th episode, which will be 2 full years.
I'll be honest, I just guessed anniversary of the show the same way I would if my wife asked me that very same question. Like, it's a safe guess. It's the anniversary of something.
2 years. Next week is 2 years. So 100th episode mattered. 2 years, I think, also matters. 2 years of Marked Out Radio.
That's kind of crazy. 2 years of Marked Out Radio. I don't know how we can commemorate that. I don't think the world's ready for another Class 316 interview yet.
Yeah, I think we're good on that front for a minute.
Yeah.
So on that note, for markedout.com, Marked Out Collectibles, and Marked Out Radio, I'm Sean.
I'm Dana.
And we'll see you next week for our second anniversary.